Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nikki Cole, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about Abraham Lincoln. More specifically, Abraham Lincoln's childhood and his upbringing. And the kind of the years that I'm focusing on is from 1809, his birth, to kind of 1830, right before he moved to Illinois and started pursuing politics. Lincoln was born February 12th in Kentucky. And he was born to Thomas Lincoln and Sarah Hanks. Now, he had an older sister named Sarah, and he had a younger brother named Thomas. However, Thomas died shortly after he was born, and that is why I have X'd off the little boy on the side. So in 1816, Abraham Lincoln and his family moved to Pigeon Creek, Indiana. Now, the reason for this move is partially to do about disputes over land that Thomas had with people in Kentucky, but also because Thomas was opposed to slavery, and Kentucky was a slave state, and Thomas wanted to get away from that, to live a new life away from that. So Pigeon Creek is where Lincoln lived the majority of his childhood into his teenage years, and that is kind of the setting for all of the information I'm going to be giving. And one very big event during that time is Abraham Lincoln's mother and his mother's death at the time. Abraham Lincoln moved to Pigeon Creek in 1816, and his mom died 2 years later in 1818. His mom died of milk sickness that the doctors didn't know about at that time. That was kind of a very formative event in his life that kind of shaped how he viewed life. And even some attributes about him come from that event, because Nancy kind of left a legacy in Lincoln after her death. And part of that legacy was her religion. Nancy was a very devout Christian, and she always worked on reciting the Bible stories, or Bible passages, and singing hymns. And she always was trying to get Lincoln to go to church. Another aspect about Nancy that is very important to notice is that Nancy, while she may not have been educated, wanted Lincoln to get an education. She always was trying to have Lincoln go to school by telling Thomas, "Oh, let him have the day off from working on the farm today." And whenever there was a schoolmaster in town, for there hardly ever was one in Pigeon Creek, she would try to have him go there. And so that was kind of the education that she had him take, created this love of learning for him, and this love of learning actually transcends into him wanting to become a politician, wanting to make more of himself than just be a farmer. Lincoln didn't want to be known for having like the biggest potato. He wanted to make something of his life. Other thing that Nancy's death affected Abraham Lincoln is it caused him depression. The Lincoln's family was known to have mental illnesses previously. However, Nancy died when Lincoln was like around 9 or so, and because they were so close, that just kind of devastated him, and he always was affected by her death. Nancy versus Thomas Lincoln. I'm just kind of comparing Lincoln's parents to how they got along with Lincoln, in terms of, as I've mentioned before, Nancy and Lincoln got along very well, and that was the very public background that he highlighted to people, was that his mother was just wonderful. She was my angel mother, and that all I am or hope to ever be, I owe to her. Quotes like that are he's known to say about his mother. However, parts that he kind of doesn't talk about is his father. Lincoln doesn't talk about his relationship with his father and how he and his father got along, because they didn't get along. Thomas didn't like that Lincoln was always had his nose stuck in a book instead of working, and so he was always trying to hire out Lincoln to do other farm work in the vicinity, and this kind of caused strife between them, because Lincoln didn't like farming, and Nancy wanted Lincoln to learn. And so and then not only did he have to get hired out, he actually wasn't even allowed to save his earnings to use it to get away from his family because the earnings went to his father. So another aspect of Lincoln is how Lincoln viewed Pigeon Creek, and there's one thing about Pigeon Creek is that for Lincoln's parents, it was a place for opportunity, a place where they could start over on a new farm. For Lincoln, it wasn't. For Lincoln, he remembered it for his mother's death, and that's kind of what this poem is about. So this poem is written by Abraham Lincoln, and he wrote this when he revisited Pigeon Creek as an older man. And I want to emphasize some lines. One line I want to emphasize is a memory, is in still memory crowds my brain, and then earth and paradise. So those kind of lines, I feel like are talking about memories of Nancy and of her death, and that the earth is her grave, and the paradise is heaven that she always talked about with him, that she went to. The one is decayed loved ones. Lincoln also lost his sister in Pigeon Creek. His sister Sarah died during childbirth in Pigeon Creek, as we learn in Fleming's, and that's another reason that he would want to get away from Pigeon Creek, and that's kind of his last tie to leave Pigeon Creek. Another thing is the last verse is in Dreamy Shadows Rise. In Dreamy Shadows Rise, I feel it kind of means Lincoln's depression, and that's kind of showing that Lincoln knew that he was depressed, and he knew it was from Pigeon Creek that he became depressed. And then there's pleasure in it too. That is probably the most positive line of this entire two stanzas of his poem. That that pleasure was probably pleasure he might have experienced with Sarah Bush, who is his stepmother, that Thomas Lincoln remarried in 1819. Because when Sarah Bush first came to the family, she and Lincoln got along very well. I think that's probably where that came from. Also, maybe there's pleasure in it too. Could be the first 2 years in Pigeon Creek, because the first 2 years in Pigeon Creek must have been probably normal years for Abraham Lincoln. Slavery. So slavery, Lincoln isn't just known for slavery from the Emancipation Proclamation, stuff like that. It was also in his heritage. The reason he moved to Indiana was because Thomas Lincoln was opposed to slavery. And this opposition to slavery kind of played a role in how Lincoln viewed slavery as a child, because he viewed it as his father viewed it. He agreed with his father that it was an abomination. The thing that's interesting is Lincoln didn't really experience slavery all that much in Indiana until he went to New Orleans. He went to New Orleans on an expenditure with a family friend to earn a little bit of money. And in going there, he, for the first time, he saw slavery, and he saw an auctioning block, and he saw what it was. And he's quoted to have said, "If ever I get a chance to hit that thing meaning slavery, I'll hit it hard." And basically, that quote is just, I want to emphasize that he did hit it hard, that he fulfilled his own kind of quote. So I think in saying is a self-made man, I think he is, because he didn't follow his status quo. He changed his own fate. He didn't stay at the farm. He became a politician. He didn't follow in his father's footsteps. And I think that Lincoln was a self-made man. And I hope you guys enjoy my project. Thank you very much.